Welcome back to Movie Roll Call. I'm Cole, and I know it's been about 2 weeks since I've had an episode. Truthfully, so much has happened in the last 2 weeks, personally and professionally, with my work life, and some just heading into new seasons for my friend group and I. I have had the blessing of over the past 3.5 years to call a lot of my coworkers my close friends in my inner circle here in Nashville, and people that I have come to love and respect a lot. And I've been so grateful to be able to not stress out on Sunday evenings about going into work on Monday because the environment has been such a good and positive place. Excuse me. And we recently had some restructuring and layoffs, and unfortunately, a few of my close friends were affected by that, which changes our daily life and just changes the atmosphere of the workplace. And it's been adjusting to a new normal. And in addition to that, a few of my friends have just gone through personal losses or, grieving anniversaries and just a lot of big changes. So that's kind of why I was a little MIA and didn't do an episode in the past 2 weeks. But I wanted to get back into it today, talk about some movies over the past 2 weeks. I have 4 different films to talk about: Regretting You, Good Fortune, Springsteen, Deliver Me from Nowhere, and lastly, Begonia. But before we jump into those 4 movies, I do want to talk about some news from the past 2 weeks that I found interesting and just go through what the headlines have been. Most recently, Ariana Grande joined the cast of American Horror Story Season 13, and I am very excited to watch her continue acting, return to acting, I guess. However, I have to admit that I'm a little disappointed that she's not going for. American Horror Story is big. It's a wide reach. There's a big audience for it, but I think I would have liked to have seen her do something a little bit more with a focus on, indie or art. Just she's already done a Ryan Murphy project, even if she was just a guest star. I think she could have really found a niche as a very talented artist in some more niche film stories. So I'm interested to see what type of character she plays. I hope she's not just falling into a pattern of playing the same type character. And the only reason I question that is because, again, she's already worked on Scream Queens, which it's not like overly similar to Galinda, but it is, kind of that rich girl vanity type thing. So interested to see what her role is, but I kind of wanted to see her do something of a higher caliber. So we'll have to just keep waiting on that. Zendaya and Robert Pattinson are also confirmed to be starring in a rom-com together next year called The Drama. Very interested in this. These are two of the biggest players in the game. So extremely interested to watch this continue to unfold. And speaking of Robert Pattinson, I just rewatched Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, his first movie, and Twilight. And it is crazy in hindsight with his discography now that he is the biggest person from both of those movies, and has outpaced so many people who were ahead of him 15 years ago. It's just very cool to see where he's at now. So yes, highly looking forward to that film. Another one I'm definitely looking forward to, the first trailer for Send Help, starring Rachel McAdams and Dylan O'Brien. It's about two coworkers who do not like each other and end up being trapped together on an island. And as crazy as that synopsis sounds, it's being directed by the famous horror director Sam Raimi, most notably who's done the Spider-Man trilogies, not trilogies, sorry. and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. And, while that's not a great movie, the visuals and the horror aspects are definitely a memorable piece of that movie. So the combination of Sam Raimi and Rachel McAdams plus Dylan O'Brien, I'm so sold. I'm very interested in what this is going to be. Dylan O'Brien in particular is not necessarily an up and comer, but I think he's definitely one to focus on more in terms of maybe not blockbusters, but an actor. That is an actor. If you don't believe me, then watch Twinless. Absolutely incredible performance. And of course, it wouldn't be a podcast episode with me if Loki were not jumping up and interacting with us in some way. Unsurprisingly, Minecraft has a sequel being greenlit and will be released in the next few years. Not a shock, it's one of the highest grossing films of the year, but that will be interesting to watch play out. This one was interesting. The Pentagon recently called Netflix's Boots show woke garbage, which is ironic since it's literally just a show about a real life Marine who happened to be gay in his story. And what I think the Pentagon probably doesn't realize is how pro military the show actually is, even though it's depicting a time when being gay in the Marines was illegal. The show is still much more centered around the fact of it's like a coming of age for the main character and him stepping into his role being a Marine and stepping into manhood and brotherhood, and like that's much more of the emphasis of the show rather than about sexuality. But if they had taken the time to realize that, they probably wouldn't have called it woke garbage. But I thought that was funny. The show was actually very good, very well made, well acted, and I enjoyed it. But yeah, that's my news stories of the week, and we can jump into the films that we're talking about today. All right, so the first film we'll be talking about is Regretting You, and apologies if I can barely get through this synopsis. It's a little convoluted. Essentially, everyone in the movie is cheating or close to cheating, in simple terms. No, but actually, the plot. So the film stars Allison Williams, Dave Franco, Mason Thames, and McKenna Grace. Those are the core people that we're following. But when the film first starts, Allison Williams Morgan, as her character, is married to Clara, who is McKenna Grace, her dad. So we have the three of them as a family unit, and then we have Morgan's sister, Jenny, and her boyfriend / baby daddy, Jamie. So from the first scene, we are introduced to Morgan and Jamie. So one half of each of the couples talking, and they're making it very clear that Morgan and Jamie kind of are interested in each other, even though Morgan is dating her guy, who she's now pregnant with, and Jamie is dating Jenny, Morgan's sister. But they're much more alike. They have a lot more chemistry, despite the fact that they're both with the other person. So, flash forward 17 years, which that age jump is crazy because they did not switch out the actors at all. So, that was hilarious. So, yeah, at this point, we have flash forwarded 17 years, and the same exact tension still exists because Morgan's husband and Morgan's sister are having an affair together behind both of their partners' backs. And then they end up passing away in an unfortunate car accident. And the story then, plays out from there. But the thing I want to focus in on is the different relationships that we have at stake here. So there's Morgan and Jamie, who we keep getting flashbacks to throughout the film, that they're obviously were and are interested in each other, despite the fact that they were with the two people who were cheating. So one half of the couple was literally cheating, and the other half of the couple was mentally already also sort of cheating. Like, I just didn't know how I was supposed to feel invested in the relationship when the parameters surrounding them are so odd, which again is like a Colleen Hoover staple, I guess. Like, if you take a look at her books, the plots are not fantastical, they're not mythical, they're all just grounded, not true stories, but grounded, realistic love stories. But they all have like one weird twist that's like, who thinks of that? Why? Like, sure, I guess it's an original story, but it's not good by any means. And this doesn't even factor in the fact that McKenna Grace's character, Clara, and Mason Thames' character, Miller, so Clara and Miller, their characters at the beginning of the film are aware of each other. They have gone to school together. Clara has had a crush on him. She calls him the coolest boy in the school. Yada yada yada. Clara drives by. I'll reenact it for you guys. Clara is driving. She sees Miller moving a city limit sign to help his grandfather get pizza because they don't deliver outside of the city limits. It's weird. It's dumb. It was not well thought out. Claire stops, helps him, offers him a ride. And at this point, they're making it well known that Claire is interested in this man. And Miller is flirting as well. But then a few minutes go by, she drives him home, and it's revealed to us that Miller has a girlfriend. Okay, cool. Not like terrible. Like we're getting into testy waters, but you know, if these two characters in movie magic are supposed to be together, then the obstacle is there, but nothing's happened yet, so it's okay, it's fine, right? But it's still weird. He has the girlfriend, they hang out then. Claire's obviously interested, but he's like, I have a girlfriend. And then him and the girlfriend break up a few scenes later, and Miller's acting mad at Clara. And so that was weird. But then they start talking because they obviously like each other. And then we watch the whole movie progress as they go through the ups and downs of their relationship and how that ties into Claire's mom, Morgan, and their exploration of grief in this really, really, really weird, twisted, everybody likes everybody scenario. So again, concept of the movie, bad. What's really baffling though is that at the end of the movie, they show us a montage of Miller asking Claire to prom, and basically show us a version of every scene that we've already seen in the movie from Miller's perspective, camcording himself and like deepening the scene a little bit. So the movie goes back in time, shows us a lot of the events we've already seen with Miller asking Claire to prom. It's kind of like leading on. The issue is that he's done this for every scene he's been in for the movie. So even the scene at the beginning with the sign, he is filming himself being like, Clara, if you actually stop for me, like, I know we don't know each other right now, but like, I'll take that as my sign that I need to be with you. It's like, you had a girlfriend, dude. You were filming that, and you had a girlfriend, and then you acted mad at Clara later on because you were still with your girlfriend. Like, so bad, so bad. We need to let the Colleen Hoover adaptations go away, like, please. And the movie title easily sets up a pun. Regretting watching that movie. Don't necessarily recommend. I went for the cast and I was still a little bit disappointed. A lot of it disappointed. But if you want to check it out, it's like a good like throwaway watch, but I really don't recommend it. And I think I ended up giving Regretting You 2.5 stars on Letterboxd. But moving on to our next film, which is Good Fortune, starring Aziz Ansari, Keanu Reeves, Keke Palmer, Sandra Oh, Seth Rogen. This is a pretty, I don't want to say stacked because it's also people that I never would have mashed up together in my brain. And I love it. It's such an odd combination of people. And they made a really interesting film. So the synopsis here is that Aziz's character is a struggling DoorDasher. He's barely making ends meet. And Keanu Reeves is his guardian angel who saves him from a small, minor texting and driving incident. That's his role as an angel. He's a texting and driving angel, and he saves people. And it's a really funny, humorous bit. And Keanu Reeves as this like fish out of water angel is it's so funny. It's very good. So Gabriel, Keanu Reeves' character, takes it upon himself to try and help um, Aziz's character. And the way he's decided to do that is to put him in the shoes of Seth Rogen, whose character is rich and has a very lax work life and just enjoys the lavishes of life. It sort of backfires though because you know Aziz's character enjoys the wealth, and it kind of goes from there. It's a very interesting um, comedy centering around what does it mean to work hard, what is wealth, what is being fortunate versus not, and it's a good little tale on. I think we've seen tales. I'm saying tale because it almost feels like folk tale-ish. Like there's like a lesson in it, and we've seen these movies before, where like Freaky Friday, or I know there's a few other ones that involve like the actual subject matter at play here, which is money and wealth. And we see plots where the movie tries to say, beat you over the head with, yeah, like, but if you step into this person's shoes who has wealth, you'll see that like everything's not as amazing as it seems. And they even acknowledge that in the movie and subvert that. And the point of the movie is a little bit different than just, oh, the grass isn't always greener. I think it takes it a step further than that. And the end result is very intriguing. And I would definitely recommend watching this film. If you don't have a chance in theaters, because I think it is a smaller film, then yeah, look out for it on streaming, but it's definitely worth the watch. Next up, we're talking about Springsteen, Deliver Me From Nowhere, starring two Jeremys, actually, Jeremy Allen White and Jeremy Strong. Those are kind of the two most prominent characters here. And I did not know a lot about Bruce Springsteen, transparently. And I genuinely thought I was going into another musical biopic about a talented musician whose rise to fame leads him to drugs and isolation. And we know the gist at this point. It's been done before. I have biopic fatigue for sure. And so I was hesitant. I figured this might just follow the same story structure. To my pleasant surprise, and again, did not know these things about Bruce Springsteen, but he did not battle with drugs. He battled with just depression. And so the Springsteen movie is kind of this quiet examination of a musician who is looking for, I wouldn't even say looking for his purpose. He knows his purpose as a musician. He's basically uncovering a lot of his grief that he feels over his childhood. And the film centers around his relationship to his dad, to both of his parents, but specifically his dad. And there was just like this really tender story about masculinity and fatherhood and like what it means to express yourself. And I don't know, I found it to be such this like quiet, gentle movie. And there's this scene at the end with Jeremy Allen White that just shook me to my core. Um, because up until the point of that scene, I kind of thought the movie was lacking perspective. I didn't know what it wanted to say. It seemed a little bit boring. And then it comes together in just one beautiful scene that I describe as like when you take that huge inhale and you're tense and you're stressed and you have all this anxiety and you swirl it into your body, and then something happens or someone says like, "Are you okay?" or gives you a hug, and you can't just help but cry. Like I think we've all experienced that, when someone gives you that attention at the right moment and it just hits you and breaks you. The end of that movie was like a long-winded breath that was inhaled, was then just breathed out. And it just felt so melodic. And I was just blown away by it. I don't know if general audiences will love this movie, but the messaging is one that will always kind of hit me hard, especially when you're talking about like what does it mean to be a man. I think there's a lot of good art that comes out of the fact that a lot of men were told not to be emotional or cry. I've talked about this before, but movies like Iron Claw, movies like Springsteen, that touch on the real weight of the expectation for men to be unemotional, it can screw you up for life if you are not willing to. I don't use the buzzwords, the like over analytical, therapized words like explore your feelings, blah, blah, blah. But it's true. Like, if you just process your emotions, if you just communicate and express the things that you feel, you would be a much healthier person in life. And I really believe that. And it's so reinforced by these films that I've watched over the past few years that acknowledge that men of the past, men of the past, 50 years, well, forever, but specifically these period films of the last few years that cover the past few decades just hit so hard to me, and I really love them. Jeremy Allen White, as Ali put it after we saw the movie, it's not like Timothy Chalamet levels where he's embodying um, Bob Dylan. It's not on the same scale as that. The messaging in this one pulls through more for aiding the movie than um, the Bob Dylan biopic does. Like that one is carried by Timothy Chalamet's performance. This one was carried by Jeremy Allen White a little bit, but plus the messaging. So yeah, that was a good watch. I learned a lot about Bruce Springsteen and kind of what a cool guy he is. And would definitely recommend that one in theaters. So go check that out if you have not. And the final film that I want to talk about is Begonia, starring Emma Stone and Jesse Plemons. And Begonia is kind of peculiar. It's about an online. I'm trying to think of the right word. Basically, Jesse's character is someone who believes a lot of conspiracy theories, and he convinces his cousin to help him kidnap a high-end CEO, Emma Stone, because he thinks that she's an alien. And it's kind of a dark thriller satire. So I'm going to be upfront here that I did not finish the movie, which does not happen very often. I saw this at the theaters too. It takes a lot for me to get up and leave. I've only done it a few times in life. And I want to be clear that I think Begonia probably is a good movie. That being said, it, especially on the coattails of One Battle After Another and Eddington and a few other films that have come out this year, it is very much pulling apart the real landscape of modern political climates. And it was not offering me a escape in the way that I would have wanted to. Like movie going is an escape for me. and I watched an hour of that movie, and I didn't feel like I was going to feel like I had escaped for the day. I just didn't. I just didn't feel comfortable, and I decided to leave. I do think I'll probably finish the movie at some point, but it's kind of a slow burn. So not a lot of not much happened in the whole hour that and maybe even more, maybe an hour and 20 minutes that I watched. I think I know what the plot twist is. Um, and I just had a moment in the movies where I was like, I just don't feel like this movie is going to give me anything worthwhile today. So instead of doing what I normally would have done, which is just sit there, I decided to give myself a little bit of time back and leave. Because again, ultimately, I want to be escaping, and the subject matter just wasn't something I felt like I was interested in. I wouldn't even say confronting is the right word. Um, I think I'm just questioning how necessary the film actually is. And I don't have a lot of experience with Yorgos, the director, who Emma Stone has now partnered with. I would say I think this might be her third film with him of the past few years. They are working on them together, and Jesse Plemons. But I know he's known for a little bit of a weirder movie because he did Poor Things, which I didn't see, and Kinds of Kindness, which I also didn't see. Um, because I know that they make weird movies, and that's totally cool. Sometimes weird movies are some of the best movies. But the atmosphere, being in the theater today, I just felt like overly skeptical. I don't think I was actually unsafe, but like I went to movies alone. That's another good point to add. I do get a little wary of movie theaters sometimes, especially when I'm by myself. Just because it is over like vulnerable. You're in a dark room with people you don't know, and like movie theaters don't really have. Some of them have security guards, but anyways, I'm like rambling. All in all of the pieces were coming together for me to say that I just didn't feel comfortable with the subject matter. Not in like a prudish way, but just like I don't really want to deal with this today. I want to go like do something happy instead, because I could tell that the film was going somewhere pretty dark, and that's on me because I knew that going in and realized more than halfway through that like I just didn't really want to confront those feelings today, and so I stopped watching it. And so it's not fair for me to even give a score, but I think this gives you more of an indication about what the film is rather than me, having finished it and giving a full out review. I can say like this is the vibe of the movie. You may be about it, you may not be. And I just happen to not be today. Yeah, I think that about covers it today. It'll be a little bit of a shorter episode. But stay tuned for next week. Next week is a big week for movies. We have Frankenstein, we have Predator Badlands, and we have Down I Love starring Jennifer Lawrence and Robert Pattinson, which I'm very psyched about. So we'll be talking about 3 big movies next week with a special guest on the podcast. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, and again, if you know me personally or you know some of my friends and the people who have already guest starred on this podcast, Allie, Morgan, Stephanie, Bobby, a lot of my close friends here, we've had a rough 2 weeks. So if you are thinking about us, praying for us, text us. We'd love to hear from you. We've all gone through our own personal struggles over the last few days and weeks, and wouldn't mind the reach outs or the comfort. It's just helpful in a time with a lot of change, and I'm just grateful that I can continue to do this and escape in this way, and talk about this thing that I love, which is movies. So see you guys next time. I'm Cole. Bye.